welcome to, I guess, the return of the Three Legs, Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's been a while, but it's still Paul with...
Sean.
And Kieran.
Just the three of us this week. Everybody else seems to be, I don't know, busy getting anally probed by aliens or something.
Enough about Chris. Right?
And I'm not even going to say what Lee's up to. How are we all? Because it has...
Clearly better than those two.
Or not, depending on what you're into.
Because it has been a while.
Yeah, I think we're still here, aren't we? Ticking along.
Yeah, still going nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've just had, what do we say, scheduling difficulties, real-world problems.
Yeah, just life.
Yeah, life happening at an alarming rate.
Yeah.
But
I know it's sort of, one night a week, essentially, but you will be surprised how hard it is to get 5 people on one night a week. There's a lot that happens.
Yeah, I mean, there's been nights each of us could have done a show on our own, but no.
Yeah.
Just gonna
no one wants to hear anyone talk about F1 just by themselves.
That'll be a hot top lap topic, something. Right, shall we look at bits of news that have happened while we've been away?
Yes.
Yes.
It's been that long, but Toyota are back in F1. The fucking cat's in the litter tray. Oh, things are back to normal.
I mean, I didn't read. Was that Autosport or was that the race?
Cat in the litter tray. I think it was GP first.
I would have gone Automoto and Sport.
No, we trust them. I don't trust the cat. Yeah, so
I think I saw Cat in the litter tray support someone at Wedgwood Rooms in 2006.
But yeah, the word Toyota is back in F1 on the rear wing of a Haas.
Yes.
Yeah. Is it only on the rear wing? Is there no other reference to Toyota on that car at all?
I think they've got some Toyota Gazoo Racing logos in other places.
I only saw it on the rear wing, but yeah, I imagine it'll probably start cropping up in other places, I would have thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Toyota are now an official partner of Haas. They're saying it's not a return to F1 because, of course, before they had their own team, their own engine, one pole position, and didn't start the race.
Oh yeah,
Jarno Trulli.
I think it was
Yeah.
Jarno Trulli.
it was. Here's a sad fact. I got up early to watch it at a hotel in Lincoln when I was going to my uni open day. I got up to watch that race like 6 a.m.
Why were you watching it at 6 a.m? It was in Indianapolis.
Oh, was it? I was thinking of China. Wasn't it China? Am I thinking of Glock?
No one has ever thought of Glock.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Lewis does every Christmas.
Oh, an extra big basket of muffins this year, Mr. Hamilton.
But yeah, I think they did get their pole in Indianapolis and then didn't get to actually take part in the race. But yeah, apparently it's a technical partnership with Haas where they're going to work together, and the Toyota Young Drivers Program will work alongside Haas. So we may see some of the up-and-coming Toyota WEC drivers getting some F1 experience in rookie tests.
Do we think this is going to be a technical partnership such as Honda Red Bull or a technical partnership such as Honda McLaren?
I don't know. The problem is, it's not Haas can't. This is wrong because they're sixth in the championship. But Haas can't get much worse. As in, you don't bring Toyota into the fold and all of a sudden it starts falling apart for Haas. Because Haas can they can fall apart at any given moment. It could be anything which breaks that. So Toyota can surely only improve them, right?
You'd hope.
It's been a long time since they've had F1 know-how, though, isn't it? I mean, what are they going to be bringing? I wonder. It's sort of the thing. They're not going to be bringing they've got an engine from Ferrari. They're not getting that from Toyota. All the sort of data that Toyota would have from F1 is quite outdated. I'm not quite sure what they're getting from it yet.
And when it comes to winning races, Toyota have stopped and Ferrari have taken over in WEC.
That's true. Because of the mighty force that is Antonio Giovinazzi.
Participating his best life.
Yes. Do we need to take an early pit stop at this point?
Yes, we do.
The cat has unleashed
hell.
Absolute stinker.
Jump cut time. And returning from the jump cut after cleaning up after a cat, I think he's dizzy. Completely lost my train of thought now.
Well, I can't believe that took 45 minutes. God, the things you miss, listeners.
Fuck me, it's nearly 11 o'clock. So we'll get to see the Toyota name. Now, Haas have definitely progressed because of the 2 years that they gave up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And also putting some real drivers in the car.
That helps as well. Although people are calling Mick Schumacher a real driver these days.
Are they? Who are these people?
Idiots, maybe.
Corina Schumacher, by any chance? But my mum says I'm cool. I made this argument, I guess, I say I made this argument with Jamie the other day. I didn't. She was sat down and had to listen to me make this argument with myself.
You were ranting, weren't you?
I was ranting. I'm now of the position that, and I realise it only takes one good race for me to say this. I'm sure when he wipes out half the field in first practice next week, I won't be saying this. But I think Haas probably should have kept Kevin Magnussen. And I'll tell you for why.
Oh.
It's, for me, I think he is someone who gets to know a team very well, very quickly, and his most major downfall is himself. He's very much a team player. He's very good when having to do things tactically. He's good at development, it seems, given that he pushed on the Renault the year he was in it to a car where it was much better when he wasn't in it, admittedly. I right now wouldn't be taking Ocon. It's not just because Ocon's been unspectacular in the, admittedly unspectacular Alpine, but I just think Kevin Magnussen might just be a more sensible option when you've got a 19-year-old in the car next year.
I do get where you're coming from with that, in that I think, Ocon is definitely not... You wouldn't say he's bringing significantly more to the team than Magnussen. So with Hülkenberg going, that little bit of consistency might make sort of... It gives you something easier to measure Behrman against, really, doesn't it? If you know exactly what you're getting from Magnussen. Yeah,
which is sort of what they've got, the situation they've got down at Williams, where they've basically, in the space of 10 races, they're able to compare Albon to 3 different drivers. The thing with Behrman is that he's incomparable to nobody, really, because sure, he did step in for one race and he got a point, but it's not enough to see really the form of Oliver Behrman. You compare him to Ocon in a Haas, you don't know if Ocon in the Haas is going to be like Colapinto in Williams or Ricciardo in a McLaren. You don't know how good he's going to be. You don't know how good the car's going to be. And Ollie Behrman is a completely different, human being whatsoever. So I think if you bring in a rookie, the sensible thing to do is to keep the other driver. But clearly Haas are thinking long term, and they're not going to keep Magnussen for 3 years. They might just keep Ocon for 3 years.
Or it turns out Ocon's a complete bust and they bring Magnussen back again. Again.
Yeah. Who's Haas's... who's going to be their deputy driver after Behrman joins the team? Because I don't think K-Mag's going to hang around for that gig, is he?
I think that... I think it might be somebody from the Toyota program.
Oh, that's an interesting shout. I would have thought they'd inherit whoever Ferrari have going spare, but...
Schwartzman or something like that.
Schwartzman, I think, is currently one of the test drivers. But, Toyota have got considerable driver, and I use the word loosely, talent with the ability to race an F1 car, and I use that term loosely as well. Because, I mean, at the moment in Toyota, they have ex-F1 drivers, Kobayashi, Nick De Vries, Sebastian Buemi, and Brendan Hartley.
I mean, excellent.
Whoa. Get him in there.
I mean, Brendan Hartley would do it because, obviously, he's got the experience.
Sure.
He's got a haircut.
But, yeah, you know, I think that, you know, there is the chance there for one of the Toyota top-level WEC drivers to step in should somebody not be able to do a race.
Yeah,
and I'm guessing they've got quite a sizable young driver program.
I'm trying to find it, their young driver program. I'm not getting very
There's
far.
It's a Toyota one.
Yeah.
I found Ferraris, and I can, because what I'm thinking is Ferrari as the lead into Haas, if that makes sense. You know, Ollie Behrman, and I can safely say, find a Toyota one, because your current Ferrari drivers are
Yes.
Dino Beganovic,
Not ready.
Maya Woog
From
Mayo.
F1 Academy.
Yeah, I've never been able to pronounce her name. Rafael Kamara, Rafael Kamara, old Rafael,
Is he in Frecker at the minute?
Yes. Oh, apparently he has a Frecker title.
I think he's been going sort of toe to toe with, is it Brendan Badoa?
I forgot about that. Oh dear. Dad, I won a title. Shut up. Aurelia Nobles, who I think is also F1 Academy.
She is.
And Tuukka Tappinen.
Oh, know nothing of Tuukka Tappinen.
I think is some kind of microwavable meal. Was that xenophobic? Who knows? Finnish. 17-year-old Finnish guy who's currently in Frecker. Oh, he's won 4 races in Frecker.
Ah.
So, yeah, I don't think they're going to be taking anyone from the Ferrari Academy.
It's, I mean, I guess Schwartzman's not in the academy anymore. I think he's just classed as reserve driver or test driver. Or
is he sports car? Is he on their sports car program officially?
I think they put him wherever they can. But yeah, I think if a reserve or a young driver is needed by Haas next year, it's going to be I think it might be the Toyota Academy that they look to. And, we could see Toyota creeping back more into F1 with the start of this. Seeing as Audi are coming in, and Toyota and Audi have always had a little bit of a rivalry.
Yeah, maybe they just want a piece of that pie. Maybe that's, they can't let Audi win, which, good news. But what I would say is that Toyota have to do more than just give some money and some development to a team if they will be taken seriously.
Yeah.
They're going to have to step in and buy Haas eventually.
Yeah, I mean, Gene Haas has started spending money again, which he hasn't done since probably the first season when he bought all the Ferrari parts.
This might be why they're 6th in the championship this year then, rather than at the back end.
It's amazing how investing in a team actually gets you more success.
Wait, money equals points? Oof. I wish you'd told me that 5 years ago, Gunter. I do wonder if this whole Toyota announcement coming out the same day as Gunter's book coming out is a bit of a, someone Googles Haas and it, kills that story and instead brings this story up. The old Boris Johnson paints buses theories. Yeah.
One fact about Gunter's book, he dedicates it to Eddie Irvine because Eddie Irvine complained to him that he wasn't mentioned in his first book. And that's the only mention Eddie Irvine gets in the second book.
Excellent.
Didn't I tell you that? I
think you might have done.
It might have been, that might have come from me. So, don't use it as a reliable source of fact. But yeah, it's quite funny. I'm listening to the audiobook at the moment, and literally 2 minutes in, he goes, after the first success of my first book, I got a call straight away from Eddie Irvine complaining they read the book and wasn't mentioned. So I said, I'll mention you in this one. And then just moves on.
We are going to go and see him in May next year.
Yes.
Have you got tickets?
Doing a gig, isn't he?
Yes. Yeah, we'll be going to see him, and I'm going to try my damnedest to get an interview with him for the pod.
Yeah. I'm sure he has an agent.
I mean, we've already got that little explicit content warning, so we won't need to add that.
We'll be fine. Yeah.
You know, all I can do is ask the question. He may say yes. I may get the door fox slammed in my face.
Yeah. So, Gunter, weather nice today, isn't it? Yeah, it is. You.
Moving swiftly on. God, I've missed saying that. What else has happened? I think
it's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, we've got a nearly complete grid for next year with 2 seats officially to be confirmed.
Oh.
Because there's still this hot rumour, isn't there, that Perez is retiring after Mexico.
Which will be this time next week. No, it won't. It will be a week on Tuesday.
Correct.
But yeah, Audi, Sauber, steak, well done, whatever, is still unsure about who is going to be partnering Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
There's a seat there.
Yes.
And the other official one is who's going to be alongside Yuki.
Yes. Possibly not even Yuki. Yuki might not be there. I mean, Yuki might replace Perez.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think he will. I think literally he could win the next 5 races and then he'll step on Helmut Marko's foot and he'll go, that's it, you little shit. Back to F2 you go.
Well, that's the thing. Honda are pushing for Yuki to get a test drive in the Red Bull because, they're basically paying for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Helmut doesn't want to put him in it.
I'm quite surprised by that. Either they are clearly really set on Liam Lawson, but if they were, then they would have got rid of Daniel Ricciardo earlier. But I don't think there's any harm in sticking Yuki Tsunoda in and seeing what he can do, because he's proved that he's a good qualifier. He's good in a long race strategy, where he has to stick on a set of hards and run to lap 48 or something. He's quite good at those things on occasion. So why not just try it?
I think the problem is Perez's contract. Because of the money that Perez is bringing in from Carlos Slim, which is somewhere... I've heard $36 million a year that he's bringing with him now. In Perez's contract, there is a no demotion clause, so he can't be dropped and put in the RB.
Okay.
And I think, I'm reading between the lines, I think there is a clause in his contract where if Red Bull drop him for even one race, he is free to leave the team and take his sponsorship with him.
Oh no! I don't know. It's a hard one, isn't it? Because... yes, if you let him go, then you also lose $30-odd million a year. But also
buys you a lot of catering.
yeah, but not too much catering. Not too much.
Red Bull gives you reasonably priced wings.
Yeah, it fixes a few issues, doesn't it?
And then, of course, they've got Dennis Hauger waiting in the wings as well.
I thought it was Isaac Hadjar that
Isaac
seemed to be the
Hadjar, the main one. Yeah,
so
they've forgotten they own Dennis Hauger.
I lose track with the Red Bull Young Driver program because it seems to change every other week.
It did not help when you had Hadjar and Hauger both with Red Bull liveries last year.
Well, there were 5 with Red Bull liveries last year in F2. That was unhelpful.
There's about 19 in F3.
But even, when you've got a Jack Crawford, at least it's a different first letter. Hajar and Helga, you're taking the mickey. You can't do that. It's not fair to a commentator.
You think that's bad? As has been mentioned once or twice every week, I am a fan of York City. At one point, we had 2 strikers in the first team, both called Paul Robinson.
And thankfully, you didn't have a goalie called Paul Robinson.
No, we let him go. We dropped him from the youth team. We said he'd never get anywhere.
Oh, really? You
Yes.
actually did have him?
Yes.
Oh, I was lying. I was being silly. For the American listeners, Paul Robinson was...
Jim's eldest son in Neighbours.
Yeah. Was a shit goalkeeper. Google Paul Robinson goalkeeping error throw-in, and yeah, there you go. Enjoy yourselves.
But I'm completely lost now. Oh yes, the Red Bull situation. Once again, they found themselves with too many drivers, but it may actually be that they've now got some talent in the young driver program.
They've got the same issue they've always got, which is they've got probably about 3 or 4 that are all going to be ready to move on in the next couple of years. So they've got they've got Isaac Hadjar, they've got Pepe Marti, who's in F2 as well. They've got Tim Tramnitz, who I think is doing quite well in F3. Will probably be in F2 next year. They've got Ollie Goethe, who I think has sort of flip-flopped between the two a little bit.
Yeah.
They've got Arvid Lindblad, who's in F3. They have many drivers in that F2, F3 circle that are all going to need to go somewhere.
And they've also got Max Verstappen until he retires.
They also have still Ayumu Iwasa.
Yes, I think they've forgotten about him as well.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I had 2.
Yeah. Do you ever sit there one day going, I'm sure there was someone else. Didn't we have someone? And his ears flat in Japan going, guys, I'm in my 9th season of Super Formula. I've won it 6 times.
But they don't have Sophia Florsch on their F3 team.
And while no one does,
no one does now, apparently.
No. Is this... I was a bit bored yesterday when I was looking at this. I don't think I ever followed it up. Is it over for Sophia Florsch?
I feel like she's had a few years in F3 now, hasn't she? And hasn't really progressed while she's been there. She did, in between her F3 stints, go into WEC for a bit, which possibly seemed like a better fit for her. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I think she'll probably end up back with Iron Dames.
Yeah, that'll be the wise thing to do. No one's in F3 in 2018 and then sitting there still in F3 in 2024 going, next step F1. That doesn't happen.
Now, if you were to say the 6-year gap for F2, there is always the legend that was Johnny Cicotto Jr.
Oh.
Yeah. And, I'll for obvious reasons, I'll give Juan Manuel Correa a free pass because there is an interesting story there. And clearly he's got himself back to a level after being in about 5 comas. He's going back to a level where he's had to relearn to walk, let alone be competitively a racer again. But Sophia Florsch, she's just not there. And it's time someone told her that.
I mean, Alpine do have quicker drivers on their programme. One of which is friend of the podcast, Abby Pulling.
Hooray.
Who is walking away with the F1 Academy title this year by the looks of things.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that's still going.
Yes.
Yeah, I think there's two more race weekends to go.
Is she leading it?
She's very comfortably leading it, I think.
What happened to Dorian Pan?
So Dorian Pan missed a checkered flag in the second race of the season, did an extra lap, ended up getting a massive penalty. She's also doing Frecker and had an off and I think broke a rib, so she missed some time. I think she might have only missed a Freca race actually with that one, but when she came back, she was still injured, so she's been a little bit sort of off the boil for a couple of rounds.
Yeah.
But
look at it. Yeah, Abby pulling.
Yeah, out of the
away.
Out of the 10 races, Abby Pulling has won 7.
In fairness
I
to
reckon
Dorian,
she might win it.
In fairness to Dorian Pan, though, she hadn't done. I think this time last year she had never done open wheel.
Yeah, she is going to be one to look out for, and Mercedes firmly own her.
Yeah, I mean, could we by 2030 have Kimi Antonelli, Dorian Pan as being the F1 line? You know, the lineup for the F1 team.
I think the issue for her will be as she progresses up. She's very small, so whether or not she will be strong enough. I suppose this is always the question with female drivers, isn't it? Is the physical side of it. Whether she has the frame to build the muscle she will need to drive a more powerful car will be probably the challenge for her.
Or if the rumours about Mercedes going back to WEC and sports cars and endurance racing in general are to be believed, bearing in mind how well Dorian Pan did in the Ferrari challenge, then she would be nailed on for that programme, surely. And
well, she did do LMP2 for a year, didn't she? She was Danny Kvyat's teammate. Where I think she was quite a bit better than Danny Kvyat.
So I think we'll see her in a top level world championship. I just aren't sure which one, but I'm veering more towards sports cars.
Yeah, I think she could do very, very well in sports cars, but
to say that she'd never driven an open wheeler before and then won her first race and technically won the second one, but then got disqualified. Yeah, it could she could have a decent future. Again, all these people who aren't Sophia Flörsch.
Yeah. I'm just reading back the Sophia Flörsch tweet now, which is fantastic. This is a class act in sass. I mean, credit to her. Not many drivers who've found they've been ditched or sacked in some way has gone straight to Twitter and gone, I'm going to tweet, but it's going to be good. In case anyone had forgotten what was so announced so grandly in June 2022 rather, says the tweet. And then it's just an article to a motorsport.com, or link to a motorsport. I do radio. How does this happen? Motorsport.com, how Alpine plans to bring more women into F1. And she just linked it to that. It's
excellent.
Like, oh, more women, but not a really mediocre one like me, huh? Anyway, moving swiftly on.
We digress, as we frequently do. So yes, next year's grid. Why is Stroll still there?
Because Stroll Senior.
Yeah. Yeah. Antonelli. Right. Are Mercedes making a mistake, or have they seen something that we don't get to see in F2?
I mean, he was looking quick, wasn't he, when he did his FP1 immediately before he trashed George Russell's car.
That was the thing, he was too quick because he didn't grasp the concept of tyre saving. And the other question, what is going to happen to Colapinto next year? Because he has proved that he has got talent.
Yeah, this is the big one, isn't it? This is a major, major problem that Williams and Sauber both have on their hands. Because it seemed like 2 weeks ago, it was all but confirmed that Bottas was probably going to stay, and you'd have Bottas and Hülkenberg, Team OAP, down at Sauber.
Putting the road in the Antiques Roadshow.
Exactly that. and putting the antiques in the Antiques Roadshow as well. So yeah, that seemed nailed on. Then there was the whole thing about Bortoleto. Does Bortoleto get promoted given he's pretty much boshing F2 right now, or now that we've got Colapinto without a seat but looking pretty good, are Williams willing to loan him out?
Well,
and if I was Sauber,
the rumor from his first race was yes, they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would take him.
I mean, you've got somebody who scored points this year, and you've got somebody who, let's face it, is in danger of being overtaken by the medical car.
Someone does need to tell Colapinto who Martin Brundle is, though, because he genuinely looked quite disturbed by his presence yesterday.
Martin Brundle, Sky Sports, gonna come back. There you go.
It's like, who the fuck is this guy?
Unless Colapinto's a massive fan of the Williams sisters and Megan Thee Stallion.
Maybe.
Yeah. Silent tribute to Megan Thee Stallion.
or Patrick Mahomes.
Or whoever that basketball player actually was.
Wasn't that basketball player somebody who was taken first in the NBA draft?
He ended up, he was a college player at the time, but he ended up being the first pick in the NBA draft the next year. I cannot remember his name.
I think the last time I watched basketball, it involved the Harlem Globetrotters. So.
Yeah, I mean, I know nothing about basketball. I'm sorry, America. I tried.
We're gonna get a ton of tweets now telling us what basketball teams to support, aren't we?
I believe LeBron James's son is now on the same team as LeBron James.
Oh yes, I saw that the other.
That's
the other
pretty
week.
much my top level NBA trivia at the moment.
I used to play NBA Jam on the Mega Drive or the Genesis for the Americans.
I went to see Space Jam at the cinema.
I feel like we're getting less close to NBA trivia.
Yeah,
that's why. That's how bad mine is. It was a good film. I thought Michael Jackson was very good in it. That's all. That's all I know about NBA. I fact checked that. I don't think I said anything wrong there. That's all correct.
And more tweets. So yeah, I mean, what can be done with Colapinto? Because I mean, Williams must be kicking themselves after 10 races of Sargent disappointment.
Oh yeah, they could be well into this constructors had they made that switch 5-6 races before. I'm
thinking 10 races before.
I mean, they had to have a chance to figure out whether Colapinto was actually a known necessity down in F2. Because, he did well in F3, but could he do in F2 as well? Did he even win a race?
The thing was, though, they had absolutely nothing to lose because I think we can say it now. Sargent was bloody useless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing worse than being dropped, but then being dropped for someone who's absolutely schooling the bloke you couldn't get near to.
And yet somehow Sargent is 22nd in the championship.
Poor Bottas.
Out of the 23 drivers that we've had this season.
Is Colapinto ahead of Ocon now?
Yes.
Yeah, that's why Ocon, I think... Well, Ocon did get fastest lap in the end, but I think that's specifically why Ocon did it, so that Colapinto wouldn't be even further ahead of him.
So, yeah, he needs a drive. I think he is good enough to get a regular seat.
Yeah, absolutely.
The question is, if he does move to Sauberaudi's day kick, is that car going to be worth driving? Because it's just going to be an evolution of this year's, and this year's is shite.
No, but what they're going to have to keep telling themselves is that they have to repeat it every single session of practice, qualifying, race, whatever. They have to keep repeating to themselves, the car's a piece of shit, our driver's still good. The car's a piece of shit, the driver's still good.
The reverse Marco.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, I had to put my fader down there because I burped. Yeah, that's they've just got to say, Oh, Colapinto finished 18th again after qualifying 17th. Oh, well, he was no good in the end. No, he was. He was very good. Just got to repeat after me. The car's a piece of shit, you know.
And there's big hopes for Audi in 26, apparently. When they will have will it be 40 by that point?
Hulkenberg.
Oh, a 39-year-old Hulkenberg leading the team.
He's signed for 3 years, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's
That's funny.
I think he's trying to out Alonso. I just wonder what odds you can get on Hulkenberg racing till he's 40 and still never getting a podium.
I feel like good
God.
at the moment. I feel like those would be good odds.
Yeah. I mean, it's impressive that you
Is
think
it?
back to like. Oh yeah, sorry. I thought that was more time. No, you're right. Is it impressive? No.
No.
Think back to the end of 2019 when he got ditched permanently. You wouldn't be sitting there saying, "Yeah, that guy in 6 years' time, he's going to sign a 3-year deal with a top-tier manufacturer." You'd go, "Really? For who? Who is he signing that for? Has he become a lawyer? Or
Yeah, the guy who had to buy a car off Jos Verstappen to get to a race when he got called in as substitute."
Was it Jos Verstappen?
Really?
I thought it was someone else. I can't remember who I thought it was, but I didn't think it was Jos.
Oh, I thought it was Jos that he bought the car from. That may need looking up. Not gonna bother with the jump cut. What else has appeared? It's been that long. I don't know what's news and what
Ricardo has disappeared.
Well, yes.
oh yeah,
Yeah. The comeback didn't work. Sorry, Gemma. We're gonna have to talk about it.
yeah.
I mean, they were blaming the car, they were blaming him, they were blaming him not working well with the car, they were blaming the car not working well with him. It was every single combination. But at the end of the day, he should never have left Red Bull in the first place.
No.
Or possibly should have stayed at Renault, because that second season was a massive improvement on the absolute disaster that was the first.
Yeah.
And then he just lost it all at McLaren.
He had 2 podiums by the end of 2020, I want to say.
That'd be about right.
About right.
Oh, voice is going. That's helpful.
Which he was nowhere near in 2019 at Renault.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you'd argue that, yeah, moving out of Renault was a bad choice. Moving out of Red Bull was a bad choice, and clearly it was. But potentially the one which killed his career was going to McLaren. It was the Renault to McLaren move, not the Red Bull to Renault, like you say. I find his Renault results.
Renault results were middling for the first season in a middling car. Couple of podiums in 2020, with a couple of fourths and fifths in there as well.
Yeah, definitely much better in the 2020 season.
Yeah,
and then just even the first couple of races of the 2021 season was good. You looked at that first race in Bahrain where he comfortably beat Lando, and you went, Lando's in trouble here. It turns out no.
Yeah, then it gets to 2021, and points are a luxury.
Yeah,
11th in the drivers' championship.
Yeah. He I've just realised he finished 4th in the Russian Grand Prix after he won the Italian Grand Prix. But of course, that Russian Grand Prix was the disaster one, which still hurts me to this day, where Lando wouldn't pit and the rain changed everything.
The one that Lando should have won.
Yeah.
I have the answer on the Hulkenberg car. This has taken a lot of Googling.
Oh wow! I'm not re-editing all of this. This is just going out as is.
No, you were sort of along the right lines with Dad of World Champion. It was Keke Rosberg's Porsche.
I knew it was a dad.
Is it just lying around? Does he leave the house and goes, right, I need a car?
Let's call Keke Rosberg.
Who's conveniently outside my house right now.
With a Porsche.
With a Porsche. That's something out of an Austin Powers movie. Implausible.
Well, thank you for the on the spot research.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although I shouldn't be thanking you because work have said with everything that's going on there at the moment, don't talk to the media. I did ask work what happens when the media asks me what I want for tea.
But I am the media in a sense. Am I allowed to speak to the listeners of Three Legs, Four Wheels?
Yes, because they're not the media.
Yes,
and I'm not mentioning work again ever. I think that's covered all the big stories,
all the news.
Yes. So there was a Grand Prix this weekend.
Yes.
And there were some stewards at the Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Sean, you've had dodgy guts today.
Yes.
Tell us about the inconsistencies and shit decisions.
Yes. Inconsistent and frequent.
What a way to tell the world your girlfriend's got the runs.
I have had some issues.
But yeah, the stewarding this weekend. Can we just call the stewards, put the stewards in the wanker column before we even start?
Yes.
I mean, what was a penalty? What wasn't a penalty? What was leaving the track and gaining an advantage? What was being pushed off the track and getting penalised for it?
There was no consistency whatsoever. It was painful to watch. And all the ones which got penalties did all have slight differences, but it doesn't mean you penalise every single one first time.
The thing was, it was happening all the way through the race, and then the penalties only started coming out in the second half of it.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a Stroll Albon one, which I sat there and went, well, that's a penalty, and somehow Stroll didn't get a penalty for it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it wasn't because, the old, oh, good, my laundry is done. And then the bag with the dollar turns up at the doorstep of Derek Warwick, I'm not saying that. Wink, wink. I'm not saying that. But is that libel? I think it's libel. No, who cares? In fact, I'll go the whole hog. That's what happened. That was what happened.
What do you do when the one that's got the beat machine needs censoring?
This is when we get Jacques out.
I've got the Jack button as well.
Oh
God.
But how the turntables.
Nah, I'm all MP3s these days. So yeah, I mean, it was a very elbowsy race at certain corners. I mean, that's how that circuit's been designed. It's the one that Herman Tilke got right.
By copying bits of other non-Herman Tilke tracks.
And some of his own.
Oh, okay.
He did rip himself off.
It is like when Simon Cowell decides, in this series of The X Factor, I'm going to put 5 individuals together and create a new band. My individuals are going to be John Bonham, Paul McCartney, and then go, we can't do that, but they're already legends. They already exist. You need new kids. You can't do that.
No, new kids already exist as well. That's why we've got Wahlbergs.
Yeah. Probably you'll see me going, we'll get Mark Wahlberg.
With his funky bunch?
Luckily, I was born just a little too late.
Sadly, I wasn't. And if you've not seen Rockstar, get the beers in.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's a racer's circuit.
Yeah.
And there was racing. Oh God, I sound like Michael Massey. But yeah, some of the decisions or lack thereof were stunning. I'm not even singling out anyone in particular because the Lando thing was contentious. But
I can see the positives and the negatives to the Lando.
But then again, so were a lot of the others.
The George Russell one, I think, when Toto ended up on the radio mid-race, that one's like, oh, okay, let's kick off there.
Talking of the George Russell one, I just want to. I got a message from Jana, who's been a listener to this show for ages, saying George Russell's "what" is possibly the most British thing I've ever heard.
What?
What? Oh. Why, I don't like this chap.
But it was just, I don't know, chaotic. You know, they brought the driver stewards in to give a professional driver's view on certain incidents and certain things happening. I think they need to refresh the drivers with ones that have had experience a little bit more recently.
Is the issue as well that when we hear drivers' views on incidents, they're often the view that favours them?
Yeah.
Therefore, drivers themselves possibly not the best people to impartially rate an incident.
On every single one of those penalties, if you swap the drivers around, they'll be complaining the other person should get a penalty.
Yep.
Because that's just how it works, you know? There's very few drivers who go around and go, well, he overtook me off the track, but what a move! I mean, I do love that bloke. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what? I shouldn't have run him out that way. That was my fault.
Yeah. I must apologise to that guy after the race.
I mean, given the amount of off tracks there were they practicing? You know, was half the grid practicing for when they're going to race there in IndyCar?
Yeah, to be fair, they made their own line entirely when they did Indy there, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why Danny Rick should race this weekend. Get their practice in for next year.
No, I think he's going to supercars.
Oh, over in Australia?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he'll do a couple of guest appearances. Because it's the closest thing you can get to NASCAR without it being NASCAR, but it's all road courses.
Yeah, I guess so. It's NASCAR with mullets, isn't it? Which is a weird thing to say.
I was going to say it's NASCAR with a different accent.
Yeah,
and the same mullets. I've got a lot more respect for NASCAR and NASCAR drivers over the last few years since I started sim racing. There is a hell of a lot of skill to it. It isn't just stick your foot down and turn left.
No. I'm not a sim racer, but I've done the simulator experience at the Brooklands Museum in Surrey. That's just stick your foot down and turn left. Apart from the bloke who went on before me, who crashed into the 18th century barn and managed to flip Lewis Hamilton's 2008 McLaren Mercedes somehow in this game.
I'm going to find out what sim they're using and download that. That sounds fun.
Absolutely. Bring them.
But yeah, the whole track limits thing, Anthony Davidson said it best, put the gravel strips there.
Absolutely. That's the answer. Just what they did in Budapest, just a 2 foot wide strip of gravel.
Or
that
fire.
Fixes this.
Fire will fix it.
Yes.
I mean, long time.
Hello, Roman Grosjean. Come back to Formula One, you say?
Long-time listeners will now be shouting nuclear fire bees, which was a topic we raised long ago before Sean and Kieran were both on the show.
Yeah, that's over me. And I'm one of those long-time listeners.
Oh, it was the show that never got out because my
so this is such a niche reference, it's never seen the light of day.
We've made jokes about nuclear fire bees before, but the actual nuclear fire bees description never got broadcast because the laptop died.
By nuclear fire bee?
No, I think Nick dropped a pint on it. So yeah, put the gravel on if you can't do fire.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think that I don't get why they don't do it more often. I get why, tens and tens of yards of gravel is a bad idea because we've all seen, Alonso and Wirtz and all those sorts of drivers who went upside down in gravel very quickly. But the little strips don't trip you up. They just cause you to lose traction. So it's well worth it.
Or the abrasive paint that they use at Paul Ricard, the red stuff.
Oh, yeah, the sandpaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go off if you want, but your tyres won't last.
Yeah.
But, yeah, something like that. Because track limits has just been a boring subject for the last God knows how long, and it still carries on now.
Yeah, it's painful. It's stupid.
Yeah. it's stopping overtakes from being overtakes. And if somebody's passing you on the outside, all you have to do is force them wide. And I was running wide as well, and I was trying to keep it within the lines, and they went off and they overtook me, and instant excuse.
Mm.
Yeah, the old "you ran me off the track" is now I ran him off the track. Did I? Yes. So I get to keep the place. Yes. Oh, cheers. You're now allowed to run people off the track like that, because if they overtake you, I say that because Russell's thing was a bit of a run someone off the track, and he got a penalty for it.
Mm.
So, providing the bloke who you're running off doesn't go and overtake you, you get a penalty. It doesn't make sense.
And I'm sure F1 and the FIA will get their heads together and come up with something just as sensible as they always do. Oh, fuck that. I can't.
It's not going to happen.
No, let's do team by team.
Yes.
Right, we'll take it on the positions from the Grand Prix. But there was a sprint as well this weekend, of course. And at the back is the green car that we haven't seen on TV for ages. Not the one driven by Bernd Mailander. The one driven by Bottas and Zhou. Yep, they were there. We got to see Zhou spinning of his own accord.
Yes.
And we got to see Bottas absolutely crap himself when the Max and Lando battle came through.
Yes. He couldn't have. He basically pulled out to Houston, didn't he?
Yeah.
No, don't want any part of this. You guys carry on.
Yeah, it wasn't in danger of getting a track limits penalty. He was in danger of having to put his watch back an hour.
I love a time joke.
But that's all you can say about Sauber. We saw two different things from both drivers at turn one.
Yes.
One was good. The other was a thing.
We also saw, wasn't Russell's penalty for running Bottas off? Was that why Russell got a penalty?
Yes.
Was that on Bottas?
It was, I think.
Yeah. So I would be as bold as to say neither of them this week participation award.
They finished 19th and 20th in the sprint, so they get 1/3 of a participation award from.
Yeah, get a participation medal.
Or a teeny tiny participation tyre.
Presented by Sting, I believe, this week, the sprint stuff.
Well, and of course for the main presentation, there's a story about that as well.
Yeah.
Which we will get to. Right, who is going to be up next?
Can I go on a slight tangent here?
You're on this show, do you need to ask?
It's a good point. I said to Jane the other day that I think it's true the only time that Sting has won a Grammy was for the reggae album with Shaggy about 4 or 5 years ago. And she genuinely thought I was doing a bit for about 90 seconds. And then I had to get Spotify out and go, let's see if I can find a track. And she's going, oh, here we go. He's going to play some Bob Marley. Wait, what? Was he? What? This is real? Yeah. What? And it won a Grammy? Yeah. But it's shit. Yeah, I know. Anyway,
yeah, who's going to be
That's
next?
that one.
I would say, given the two results combined, probably Aston Martin. Alonso 13th, Stroll 15th.
Yeah, I don't remember much about either, to be honest.
Alonso just went backwards.
Alonso was definitely old man yells at cloud this weekend because he was having a right go at Liam Lawson for being quicker than him.
That's not really Liam Lawson's fault, is it?
Yeah, the RB is an idiot as Lawson's disappearing off into the distance after he's passed him.
Yeah,
and I think he told Colapinto to get off his lawn at one point. And yeah, they weren't up to much. I mean, they were pants in the sprint as well.
Yeah.
Did Alonso
completely.
have a spin in the sprint? I think there was something extra for Alonso there.
Yeah, he might have done, but he still finished ahead of both Saubers.
Yeah, seems reasonable.
I can't remember the sprint whatsoever.
No.
What happened in the sprint?
Um,
I was watching it in a bar in Krakow.
That would do it.
Yeah, I could barely hear it.
I was watching it sober on my sofa and I can't really remember the sprint.
Okay, good. Yeah. It wasn't the range of hoppy Polish IPAs.
No.
It was the race itself.
I think
that makes
so.
me feel better.
But yeah, they were there. They just didn't do a great deal.
No.
You know, I think it's participation awards for both.
Yeah. Well, Stroll fell off the track, didn't he? Did you just mention that? I can't remember. He after the safety car, after Lewis's safety car, he just drove off the track for some reason.
He was on hards, I think, wasn't he? And he just they hadn't come back up to temperature, and everyone went past him.
Yeah.
This is the same driver who couldn't tell whether his brakes were too hot or too cold because he was complaining about cold brakes and
Then describing overwarm brakes.
and then got told on the radio to cool his brakes.
Yeah, dear.
Not this week, it was a couple of years back, but still.
Yeah.
Has Lance Stroll lost all interest in F1? He looks like he wants to be somewhere else.
I think he's finally hit him that I don't know. I mean, this might be a bit unfair. It's finally hit him. He doesn't have the biggest fan base, and maybe he doesn't want to do all the activation crap that you have to go through. Because Jane and I have only just got around to watching the old Grill the Grid things for this season on YouTube, and Lance Stroll, he couldn't be less interested if he tried. Lando doesn't put in a very enthusiastic performance, but at least Lando titters to himself a couple of times. Stroll literally sits there and goes, "Right, okay, we've put the circuits the other way round. You've got 90 seconds to guess them. Go, Lance Stroll." Hockenheim, Imola, Sepang, Imola again. Let's turn that upside down. That's Montreal. Bored now. He's just like, live for something, Lance, except there's nothing for him. It's like he won a competition to have a holiday in, you know, the most wonderful place in the world, and he's just bored.
Was there a rumour a couple of years ago that he was going to go and be a tennis player?
Yeah,
There
that,
was, yeah.
that was doing the rounds in 22, I think it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
he should have done that.
Yes.
But yeah, he just looks like he's got no enthusiasm for doing this at all.
Did you see me? Do you see Ted's notebook? I want to say it was after the sprint race, not after qualifying. Was it after qualifying? It was after the sprint race. I watched it the next day, and they had a pickleball court out the back of somewhere in the paddock, and they had the very cool, nice bloke, the pole vault guy.
Oh, Mondo Duplantis.
Duplantis, yeah.
For,
they had
for
him there.
For people who don't know what pickleball is, like me, what the fuck's pickleball?
It's like little tennis.
I thought that was paddle.
Yeah, I think it's somewhere between
think
table
it's-
tennis and tennis.
Yeah,
That's a big fucking table.
They had the massive table, the massive table. They had the court there, and they had a fastest serve chart from, like, you know, top 20 fastest serves, and clearly they got each of the F1 drivers to go there and do a serve. And Max was top. I think George Russell was second. But they were all sort of 57, 49, 46, 45, 44 mile an hour and all that. And at the bottom was Lance Stroll with 8. I reckon my nan would have half a shout at 8 miles an hour, Lance.
Do we think he just dropped the ball when they went, oh, that'll do?
Yeah, we've recorded it.
Yeah, I know he's on a multi-year deal, but I don't think he'll see out multi-years. I mean, you know, his enthusiasm might come back when Aston Martin finally get the Valkyrie in WEC.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, that
Felipe,
would be the sensible move.
And Felipe Drugovich takes his seat. Just waiting. Any second.
Yeah, sorry, I've just realised. Yeah. You trying to lead me into a Leclerc situation?
Would I?
I think I was about to say they'll give it to Tsunoda. I think because Honda are going there.
Yeah.
I reckon they might give it to Tsunoda in 2026, and it'll be
Honda
Fernando and
comes
Tsunoda.
with free Tsunoda.
If I was Honda, I'd say put my driver in the 2025 Red Bull, or we're taking him to Aston Martin in 2026. Come hell or high stroll.
That's going to be one to watch. Where next? Alpine. Gasly in 12th and Ocon in 18th. Ocon spun on the first lap.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And never really recovered.
He did do the fastest lap.
That is true, actually. I mean, he was running. He was running in about sort of 15th, pitted for the fastest lap to take it away from Williams.
Mm-hmm.
That's two bald men fighting over a comb.
Yeah. I think I said in our chat yesterday that they have to really have to do some rewinding on their gloat tweets, because all the tweets that came out during the week saying, "Oh, you've painted your car orange so that you think it's going to be as fast as a McLaren, do you?" And all their tweets after he got 6th or 7th in qualifying was, "Well, what do you think now?" And then when Gasly fell apart like a leper in a wind tunnel, they had to basically delete everything they had.
Yeah, the McAlpines. Hang on, not their construction company. Built the stadium in Huddersfield, didn't they? Yeah, the orange Alpines, the ones that look like they've been left out in the sun too long.
They do. They look like they've faded.
Yeah.
It doesn't help that I have colour blindness problems with certain shades of pink and orange, so I was just looking at grey cars.
But someone said it looked like a crumpled up Terry's chocolate orange wrapper.
Yes. Yeah, I will go with that. And they were about as quick.
Yeah.
On race pace. Obviously, on one lap pace, much better. On a empty tank with soft tyres on. But, yeah, again, then have they given up on this year?
Totally.
And next year's going to be just as bad because the Mercedes engines are coming in 26. That's one we missed. Renault are managing.
Oh yes.
Renault. That is the ultimate Renault, pulling out of F1 while staying in F1.
Yes.
Honda, your move. So yeah, the Alpine cars are going to be running Mercedes engines. And the Alpine engine factory is going to be for development and endurance racing?
I think so, yeah. I think for their WEC stuff.
We're talking a lot of endurance stuff tonight.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the Alpine Mercedes coming soon. I mean, I suppose that shows just how behind the curve Renault are with that engine. Yeah, it's all Renault Group. You know, Alpine is just their brand. It's nothing new. The Enstone team is currently owned by the Renault organisation, and Anthony Joshua and Deadpool.
Yeah. Patrick Mahomes as well, of course.
Yeah, Taylor Swift's boyfriend as well.
Oh, is Travis Kelce involved?
He is.
Ooh,
Yeah, I think everyone is.
Yeah. I think I've got a timeshare with them next Thursday.
I heard Tyson Fury was involved in there somewhere as well.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
But
is the next step going to be Renault sell up and Andretti?
That would be the logical approach, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I don't know what Andretti have done to piss off F1, but I don't think even that would be good enough for Liberty.
You know, Alpine sell up to Andretti, and Liberty put out the new sporting regulations where there can be a maximum of 18 cars on the grid.
Yeah. It's the old Simpsons thing where the filmmakers are down to their last $1,000 and old Quimby turns around and says, there is $1,000 leaving town tax.
Hasn't IndyCar just essentially done this to Prema, though, by, like, bringing in some kind of charter system just as Prema have joined?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
Yeah, I think they're making Prema pay double now.
Something like that, yeah.
I hope they storm it.
Yeah. That'd be justice, wouldn't it?
Well, it's a spec series, and Prema are good at winning spec series, like F2 and F3 and Frecker and...
All of them.
All of them, basically. But yeah, how long before Renault completely exit?
What day is it today?
Well, we've not heard anything yet, so it's not Tuesday.
No.
I mean,
it would make sense if they did.
I mean, the obvious answer for when are Renault going to completely pull out of F1 is 3 years before they come back.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, Christ only knows. Right, where do we go next after that? I'd probably say Williams, because we're now getting into the point scoring teams.
Yeah.
Albon down in 16th again, had to pit early after his coming together with Ocon at the start.
Mm-hmm.
But Colapinto 10th.
Yeah.
Yeah. Impressive as well.
I genuinely think there is a danger he might catch Albon. Is it 12 points versus 5 at the minute?
Oh God, is that it?
That is it. There's only 7 points in it between them.
Albon only has 12 points.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Which, when your teammate is Logan Sargent, looks great. But yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. I thought he had way more.
Nope.
Well, shit.
Yeah, Williams could be getting buyer's remorse for the Albon contract if Colapinto finishes ahead of him.
Yeah, big time. I mean, that's... I'm not convinced Alex Albon has all of a sudden just turned into a bad driver because Logan Sargent is no longer in the team.
It did take Albon till Monaco to score points, but the car was massively overweight.
Yes.
And we've seen Albon do some extremely special things in that car when it has been on weight, shall we say?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think he will catch him. I don't think he's going to make up 7 points. And I don't think even if he does make up 7 points, Albon's going to go without scoring. But I do think Albon's going to have to really look over his shoulder next year.
Mm-hmm.
Or rather look ahead of him. Because Carlos Sainz, Franco Colapinto isn't magically better than Carlos Sainz. So, and Carlos Sainz is going to be better than Colapinto, that's what I just said.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think they're going to have to manage Albon a little bit better next year, and Albon's going to have to get his head back in the game because this weekend he was potentially the worst driver.
Really thought it was that bad.
He hit Gasly, hit Ocon at the start, didn't he? And that did it for him because he then had to pit. He ended up in the strange tussle with Ocon and Stroll and another car. Can't remember who the car was now. Where they're sort of four wide at the back. I don't think he was very impressive in qualifying. He got done by Colapinto in the sprint qualifying, and he went out of in Q1 in the main qualifying. I think he was probably the worst driver of the weekend.
Bloody hell.
Good news, Lance Stroll.
I'd have gone for Zhou myself because he was slow and spinny.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, form. I guess what I'm looking at is the drastic change between what the
Performance
car
relative
can
to
do,
car.
what the driver can do. Exactly. Yeah. Whereas it's like saying, yeah, you say who was the worst driver this weekend? You could say Zhou nearly every weekend. So yeah, now Sargent's gone. So yeah, that's a good point. Okay,
But I mean,
penultimate.
yeah. Amongst the worst drivers, he was right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Next up. Oh, we missed. Sorry. Am I looking at the wrong one?
I have
yeah,
no
I'm looking at
idea
the
what you're
sprint.
looking at.
Yeah, I'm looking at the sprint.
RB?
RB. Liam Lawson points on his return.
Yes.
Jumps straight up to
20th
in the standings in the 20 driver championship.
It's been a good sporting week for New Zealand, really, hasn't it?
It has a bit. As I described it in the in-race chat on Sunday, Liam Lawson, first Kiwi rock star since Neil Finn.
Okay.
Only because I can't remember any of the names of the Datsuns.
or either Flight or Concorde.
But yeah, Lawson. I think he put the car where it should be. That car is capable of getting points.
Do you know who would disagree with you? Yuki Tsunoda. when Lawson came back out of the pits in front of him, that was not a happy teammate.
Yeah, he did very well to control his language, though. I'd argue. How that was clean, I don't know.
I mean, he was asking how it happened. It's like you went off track 3 times.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I mean, I know this sounds like a bit of a cop-out, and it sounds like I'm promoting parity here, but starting at the back with hard tyres is no bad thing. Sure, it didn't work for Stroll, it didn't work for Hamilton, obviously, but it's worked for Lawson and Colapinto extremely well there.
Yeah.
And it has worked for people like Stroll in the past.
I wonder with Colapinto and Lawson if there's almost an element there of, because they're newer, they're more used to starting with cold tyres that need to be warmed up and broken in a bit more.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Yeah.
Looking at the differences in fastest lap, Lawson was the 8th fastest and Tsunoda was 15th fastest. And there was over a second between their fastest laps.
And Lawson had the fresher tyres at the end, didn't he? He went on to mediums.
Yeah, I mean,
whereas Tsunoda would have been in traffic quite a lot.
Traffic paradise. They both set their fastest laps on lap 54.
What a strange fact.
Is that the last lap? That's near the end of the race, that, isn't it?
I think that was the last lap. Setting his fastest lap on lap 53, a whole 3.2 seconds slower than Ocon's fastest lap at the same time, was Valtteri Bottas.
What?
Ocon's fastest lap was 1:37.3.
Yes.
Bottas's fastest lap was a 1:40.5.
Fucking hell.
He was 1.3 seconds slower than Zhou.
Jesus.
How?
What route was he taking? Was that the one where he took the big loop?
Oh, how? How do you do that?
You drive slowly, apparently.
I understand it, but I get why Zhou is not being considered for an F1 race team next year. There is nothing exciting about Zhou Guanyu. Absolutely nothing. But on those stats, you wouldn't be putting Bottas in the same conversation as a driver.
Bottas, I think, has less interest in F1 than Lance Stroll.
Well, I don't know. I think he has more of an interest, but in alternate alleys.
He likes the merch and the being the character, but actually the driving, not really into it.
Yeah, I don't watch the Eurovision Song Contest to watch a serious competition between songs. I watch it to see if Armenia are going to have a bust up with Azerbaijan.
just
I'll
reminded.
watch it to see how few points we can get this year.
You've
He
just,
likes the cowboy hats and the mullets.
you've just reminded me about documentary on a footballer that I've been meaning to watch.
How?
Right, a Brazilian guy who managed to get signed by around about 16 or 17 different clubs all across the world and never actually played a match.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was. I think it's called the Kaiser.
Excellent.
But like some of the biggest clubs in Brazil, he came over to Europe. I think he played didn't play in Asia, and he was a crap footballer, but he was good at convincing clubs to sign him. So he did everything that comes with being a footballer, except for the actual playing football part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the Bottas thing.
Got you, yeah.
Likes F1 apart from the troublesome driving.
Yeah.
And
I will check it out.
I will post a link to that. I've not seen it yet, but I think it's got to be on a streaming platform somewhere.
It'll be somewhere, won't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. I'm getting increasingly annoyed. Again, slight tangent here. I'm getting increasingly annoyed that every time I say to usually Jane, because I live with her, mostly Jane, I say, "Oh, we've got to watch this because this is brilliant," and then I can't find it on any streaming service. It's like, it's something so obvious that I swear I'm this close to getting a DVD player back. Just going back to the Isle of Wight, knocking on my parents' house and going, "Hi guys, I'm just taking all my DVDs again." Why? Because nowhere shows the hit BBC sitcom Roman's Empire anywhere. Not one streaming service.
No, I've been trying to find the BBC drama The City and the City. Nowhere's got it.
No. I'm trying to find the Bros documentary. I will show that to Jane. It's not on any streaming service, and that's hilarious.
We've got it. We've still got it saved on our Skybox.
Yes, I think we have. That's probably not helpful
Can you
in this
post
situation.
me your Skybox? I'm sure I could buy it off Amazon for £2, but I'm not made of money.
I've had a thought. I'll speak to you afterwards.
Okay.
I think I've still got a copy of it kicking about. Going back to Formula One, I was trying to get a Bros reference in there, but I've got nothing.
Oh, we can try. Which team's next?
Haas.
When will they be famous? Well, does that work?
No, not really.
When will I? Can we cut all of this out? Can we just lose the last 2 minutes?
Some would say that is our best content.
What? Jacques Villeneuve? Yeah, so we'll try and do Haas. Came out good in qualifying, bad in the race. Hulk not so good in qualifying, good in the race.
Haas said it was their best ever finish at a home race.
Yeah. Well, I think Magnussen was good all weekend, wasn't he? They were both extremely solid. Magnussen was overtaking everybody once he pitted.
I mean, double points in the sprint.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7th and 8th. Yeah, I mean, when they've got a car that they actually give a toss about and two drivers that are actually drivers, as we were saying earlier, or is it the Toyota effect coming through already?
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, all you needed is the name on the car, and all of a sudden it's quick.
Yeah, maybe it's just everybody wanted to get behind them so they could just radio in the car in front is a Toyota.
Of course, Magnussen has a clean
Very
license now, so he can actually drive without the ban hanging over him.
Yeah, who was Magnussen complaining about being dangerous? I'm sure he...
I remember him complaining about someone being dangerous. I can't remember who.
It could be Goebbels and he'd be in almost the wrong camp there.
Yeah, it was a real Mr. Pot meet Mr. Kettle.
Yeah, was it during qualifying?
Yes, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were both a couple of drinks in by that point, so remembering what happened. That's the problem with 11 o'clock Saturday night qualifying.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
You were drinking cheap Polish beer.
I was, yeah. I think I was. I can't remember if I was home for qualifying. I did. Yeah, I was 6 IPAs and 1 McFlurry down at that point.
And a McFlurry. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, they do Lion McFlurry in Poland.
Wow.
Yeah.
Always
nice.
We get badly treated over here.
Yeah.
So yeah,
but no, Max I thought was great. Basically, I thought
it was a good weekend all round. 1 place off, double points in both races, which for Haas is bloody solid.
Yeah, double points in a sprint for Haas. You'd think that there's been a pile up in front, but no. It seems a shame that they are, after all, going to drop the boy. Too much?
I'm not even giving you the second one.
I quit. I tell you what, there's nothing that can't be fixed by Googling the Ross discography.
Which I haven't done, but you're still getting the push.
Oh dear. Yeah, that's fair.
Can we move on to Mercedes, please?
Yes.
So difficult, I think, is the way to describe everything that went on Sunday. The positives from Saturday were a good sprint showing. And it all went downhill after that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lewis originally qualifying in 16th and then losing his lap.
Mm-hmm.
George writing the car off and having to start from the pit lane.
Yes.
Oh, awful that. Very rarely you see a crash actually between 19 and 20. But that was quite a heavy crash as well.
Yeah, he just... Everyone seemed to be having a lot of trouble with the back end.
But no one more so than Mercedes.
No, they were all over the bloody place.
Yeah.
It looked like they had a separate steering wheel for each end of the car. And they weren't working in tandem. So we ended up with George Russell starting in the pit lane and Lewis starting, I think it was 18th in the end?
17th, I think.
It was.
Yes, because he'd have moved up a place by Russell.
But I mean,
he got the Lawson.
That as well. Yes, that's
the Lawson
true.
place because Lawson started with Danny Rick's engine penalties.
Yes.
I mean, Lewis...
yeah, I don't get why they didn't start him from pit lane.
Apparently the strategy wasn't right. I mean, he had a fantastic start though. Lewis, he got he got up to 12th.
Yep.
And then 8 corners later, binned it.
Yeah.
Awful. Absolutely. It's a real shame as well because personally, if it was me, I'm putting Lewis Hamilton in the pit lane. I'm giving him every new component known to man. I would upgrade everything to a new part on that car. And then you just hope that he does what Russell does and make up to 5th, 6th, whatever, right?
Was the issue not that they didn't have new parts, though? Because that's why Russell had to start from the pit lane, because they had to replace a load of his parts with...
I think the floor, the radiators and the side pods were the old spec.
Okay, well, I would probably give him all the new engine bits.
Got you.
The ICE, the MGU, the PH, all the letters.
Yeah.
Give him all that. And see what he can do with it, because there's 6 races left and 2 sprints. Why not? Let's see how far Lewis can go with those. It just seems strange to say, you've qualified really badly. So the thing we normally do to bad qualifiers, no, we're not going to do that. We're just going to let you sort of waddle around with Colapinto and Zhou and all that.
Because I think that the other problem was they wouldn't have been able to, if they'd have replaced various parts of Lewis's. There's a chance that the new aero upgrades wouldn't be compatible with anything else that they were going to change.
Yeah. There's also an issue that they might have been that busy repairing George's car, they wouldn't have had time to do Lewis's.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I think that it obviously led to... I don't know how much of a curfew there is between the sprint and the and qualifying. Because apparently Red Bull spent it just polishing the cars because they were fine. And McLaren spent it rebuilding the cars because they weren't. That's according to Ted. Lewis has said that he thinks it was the upgrades that caused the problems with the car. And Toto thinks it wasn't the upgrades that caused the problems with the car.
Excellent. Good.
So that's good. That's healthy.
That spirit of unity that Toto said was going to be there till the end of the season, right there at the forefront.
It's not a thing. I guess if that's the biggest disagreement they have over the next 2 months, then they've done quite well, I'd argue.
Now,
one
other thing that I've seen with Mercedes is they're going to be running. They're going to have to run different specs in Mexico because they are down to one of the new floors, and if Lewis breaks that,
I dare say the wise thing to do there is to give it to George Russell. And I mean, I don't have a huge amount of ground on this. I don't think this is necessarily an anti-Lewis thing. It's just, I feel as if George is in a better position right now to execute an end of the season running than Lewis is. And of course, it makes sense because he's going to be the driver next year.
And of course, next year's cars, with it being the last year of these current regulations, what is it they usually say? It's going to be more an evolution than a revolution.
Indeed.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, all of them are going to be like that, aren't they? They have to be.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's not going to be as many upgrades coming throughout the season because they can start working on the new regulation cars from January next year.
Yeah.
So there's a good chance what we'll see at the start of the season is pretty similar to what we'll see at the end. There will be new things. But
this is another big announcement, isn't it? They're putting through 9 days of pre-season testing next year.
What,
they're going to know those cars back to front.
What, 2025 testing?
Was that not 2020 or was it 2026? Have I misread that?
I would say 2026 having more testing would make sense because of the new aero and engine regulations.
The only thing I remember seeing about it after I read it was Ted having a paddy because he'd have to do more work. Genuinely, that was how I read about it.
ESPN are saying it's 3 days in February.
So it must be
2025.
It must be 26 where they want to do more.
I mean, it's still a problem for Ted, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, he lives for this sort of stuff, I guess. Here we go. Introduction of 3 pre-season tests for 3 days of each of 2026 season.
Yes.
My bad. Yeah. So yeah, they're not going to know the cars very well then in 2025.
Which leads me to think they're just going to be B specs of this year's.
Which will mean they do know the cars well.
Yeah. If they're not going to have time for the full amount of testing. So yeah, we may not see all that many upgrades next year if the work's starting early.
Yeah.
On the 26 cars.
Which they're going to have to.
Yeah.
One final Mercedes thing. I don't know how to word this. I have it on reliable information that the big Lewis Hamilton send-off from Sky is going to be Lewis and Brundle driving 3 of his World Championship winning cars around Silverstone, which was recorded a couple of weeks ago, and this was the thing that Brundle kept banging on about in the Sky coverage. That was filmed a couple of weeks ago.
He did say he'd done 10 laps, didn't he, and seemed very pleased with himself.
Yeah. And I think it's the 2014, 2015 and 2017 cars that he's gone round in with Lewis.
What, he didn't want to drive Rosberg's 2016?
No, strangely no. Yeah.
Very, very odd.
Of course, when Brundle retires, Lewis is going to go round our grid walk with him and awkwardly get the name of NBA players wrong.
Who's next? McLaren. I would say Lando in I'll say contentious and disputed 4th place, and Piastri in 5th. Lando at the start was definitely pushed.
Oh God! I mean, I know I said about this. You could have read that 100 miles off. If you don't completely close that corner, Max is sending you into tomorrow.
Yeah.
Around off that track. So the second Max got a run up there, you knew a Ferrari was leading the race. It just was so predictable and so typical of Lando at the moment. I do 90% of the thing, but don't succeed in that 90% and lose to the 10%, which is what he did with Max there.
I'm just scrolling back on our chat to a message you sent just before the race started. Where is it? Right, this was 1 minute before lights out. Kieran, I think Max is going to run Lando all kinds of off the track at turn 1 and he'll eventually rejoin in 5th.
It's a pretty solid prediction, to be fair.
Me, 4 minutes after lights out, you were only 1 place out.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, I'd say it was so obvious. I don't know if it was so obvious or if I just got a bit lucky. Clearly, I'm no good at predicting these things. If you look at the prediction league on the website right now, I'm behind myself from last year. So I'm no good at it, but just it was so obvious what Max was going to do. If Max got a sniff up to the inside, I think my first 10 words of the race yesterday after lights out, it was me going, Lando, cut. Oh, you fuck. Ah, now you're off the track. Yeah, he didn't cut nearly enough on Max. And that was when he was allowed to. The first corner, you're allowed to do whatever you want on the first corner. And he still didn't. He was too conservative.
And oh boy, did it cost him.
Yeah, that's the nail in the coffin of the championship, definitely.
I think, the pendulum has swung the other way.
Yeah.
I don't know why they say that, because the idea of a pendulum is it moves from side to side constantly in a regular pattern. It doesn't clocks don't go tick. That's it.
Be odd if they did.
Some do. Some do, Clocks without pendulums do.
But yes. Piastri. Now, he finished 5th, but he was catching Lando and Max at a rate at the end.
Yeah. I would borderline argue participation award for Oscar otherwise.
A very undramatic 5th, wasn't it?
Yeah. Sort of 5th he was putting in at the start of the season. I'm here, but I'm only here because the Mercedes blew it and Perez was crap.
Yeah.
That sort of performance.
Yeah, wasn't really troubling anyone ahead of him. Didn't have any pressure from behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, if, he'd have had a race if Ferrari hadn't have pulled out such a gap.
Yeah. If he'd been quicker.
Yeah. Drive faster. It wasn't, it wasn't the all dominating performance, but, still two McLarens in the top 5. Yeah, say this every time, considering where they've come from. Right, Red Bull. Max in a, shall we say, contentious 3rd?
Mostly uncontroversial, apart from the massively controversial bit towards the end of the race.
And at the start. The bits in the middle weren't.
Yeah.
Mostly.
I don't think I'm qualified enough to give hundreds of listeners what I think is right and wrong about what happened on that corner. But what I would say is that Max is very lucky on both occasions to go unpenalised. The lap 1, turn 1 thing, he went off the track to stop Lando doing him on the outside. And then the lap 50, wherever it was, 52? Can't remember what lap it was now. But the incident, I reckon he was extreme. I look back at Brazil 2021. I know there's a difference there because he was defending the position and Lewis didn't overtake Max per se in Brazil, whereas Lando has overtaken Max. But I would argue that for the same reason Lando gets a penalty for overtaking him, Max should get a penalty for forcing a driver off the track. Even if you're not overtaking, even if you're defending, I still don't think to that level that should be allowed.
Yeah, I mean, Lando had his penalty reduced by 5 seconds to 5 seconds because Max went off track.
Oh, and imagine F1 Twitter if every bastard who did that move on that corner got 5 seconds unexplained. Lando gets 10. I think there'd be a riot, if that had happened.
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting Verstappen to challenge more up front, but apparently there was a problem with the car that said they were going to repair in the pits, but because of bad camera work, we didn't actually see anything get done because they were concentrating on the left rear tyre and something may have happened on one of the other 3 corners.
It was like a normal length pit stop, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was on the front wing. They were meant to balance their wing angles on both sides, and they unbalanced one of them. So one of them was at a 4-degree angle, and one of them was at a 1.5-degree angle or something, which made Max feel like he was a bit wobbly on the front right, basically, for the first stint.
So it was
allegedly that's what it was.
It was the complete opposite corner to what the camera was focusing on.
Yeah, I mean,
Excellent.
it was the engineer equivalent of clickbait. Something big's going to happen at the next pit stop. You won't believe what will happen, and it turns out it's cool. Nothing happened.
Oh, that was like Haas's pit call to K-Max. Like, you've got to pit now. You've got to pit now. It's like everyone's waiting for the car to blow up, and he just comes in, does a normal sub 3 second stop, and drives out again. Like, what the hell was that?
Yeah. That was weird. That was very weird.
Yeah, 'cause I was in the Discord chat and I was like, it sounds like K-Mag's about to blow up. And no, he just left the pits and carried on driving at the same speed he'd been driving at before the urgent call to come in.
I think they just spotted a gap late and got very excited.
I'd love to have heard his reaction to it on the radio. It's like, do I need to park and get out and run?
Yeah.
I'm only on turn 6. Am I going to be toast?
We're still on Red Bull, aren't we?
Yes.
Good. Sergio Perez
was an active participant in some sections of the race.
Which sections were those then?
How do you
when I sent that message to our chat group saying, has Perez done anything of note? He was in 9th and then he finished in 7th, so he must have done something between that message and the checkered flag.
No, he got overtaken by the bloke who started in the pit lane and had a penalty.
Yes.
And the slower car.
Why is he still in a job?
I don't know. Because he sells T-shirts. You can't deny he sells T-shirts.
Oh, yes. Do we think he's going to retire after Mexico?
I mean, that is the rumour that's been doing the rounds, isn't
He
it?
has officially denied it.
Oh, okay.
So...
I mean, the rumour was started by Joe Saward.
Which isn't a good start, is it?
Saward. No,
it's pronounced sour old man.
The man who had a go at someone, a university student, because their blog about F1 was full of spelling mistakes. And she turned around and said, well, I'm dyslexic, that's why. And he went, oh, that's no excuse. But if you read Joe Saward's, whatever, Sour Old Man's Green Notebook, it's borderline elfish. It's awful. Like, you sort of go, there should be an M there. Hamilton has a H in it. You know, you read it, it's fucking awful. And I do read it. I do find it interesting because a bit of scandalous rumour. It's one of those things. If you say everything, one thing will come true, and he manages to get one or two things every time it gets printed.
The least even shotgun predictions.
Yeah, exactly. Spread them everywhere.
I told you we'd finish in the top 20.
Yeah, but I don't think he will. Because I'm sure a lot of those T-shirts and caps are going to have warranty. You know, when the 28-day non-return policy ends, bang, you get rid of Sergio.
What if you buy it at the track though, and by the time he announces his retirement, the track people have all moved on to another Grand Prix?
Ah, well, at that point, yeah, you retire after the podium. At that point. Mm-hmm. Are there sweat marks? This is non-refundable. But you've just sacked the driver. Non-refundable.
And from then on, what gets sold in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it was another non-weekend for Perez. I mean, you know, well done. You finished 7th.
Was he 9 seconds in front of Lawson? No, Hulkenberg was. Oh God, we're gonna have to get the times up.
I have the times. He was 4 seconds in front of Hulkenberg.
I'm glad you do. I've got Bross's discography,
and that doesn't have the answers, does it?
And
no, it doesn't.
And 12 seconds in front of Lawson.
Yeah, that's poor. When you have finished 59 seconds off the lead or wherever it was, that's really quite bad. Oh God! It actually was 59 seconds off the lead.
It was, and 40 seconds behind your teammate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your teammate whose tyres were basically, shot 20 laps before the end of the Grand Prix.
You see about the same amount of canvas as you would in a decent sized art gallery.
Very good.
So yes, Perez. I can't bring myself to give him the participation award. Just because. And that leaves a Ferrari 1-2.
Yes, good lord.
Out of all that, at no point have we mentioned somehow Ferrari got a 1-2 in this race.
I mean, Leclerc took advantage of the turn 1 shenanigans, and then promptly fucked off.
I was worried at one point that he was going to Ferrari himself when I think the engineer was talking about plan A, maybe plan B, and then Leclerc comes in with, what about plan C? It's like, no, just stick to something.
What was it? We're on plan B at the moment, but we might switch to plan A.
Yeah, and then Leclerc starts talking about plan C.
Meanwhile, Carlos is saying, I can definitely smell petrol.
Yeah, and I mean, in my mind, I was retiring him that lap.
Yeah. Like, park before it blows up.
Yeah, we remember Austria a couple of years ago where you were one Toblerone behind a wheel away from being a blazing inferno rolling back onto the track.
It nearly set fire to the Marshal.
Yeah, he did, yeah. Oh, that's horrible.
But, Ferrari, it sounds really patronising, didn't get anything wrong. No, I'll rephrase that. Ferrari got everything right, and they took advantage of everything that was presented to them this week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think that is it. I think they had the tidiest race.
Yeah, because if we look back down the rest of the, I'll say, competitors for a win, everyone had struggles. In one way, shape, or form. Be it an issue with the front wing, a penalty, a bad start, a pit lane start, being Sergio Perez.
Yeah.
ending up not completing a lap and finishing in the gravel. And Ferrari didn't have bad luck and didn't act like headless chickens.
No, they did. Well, they had a bit of a unnecessary, a good fun to watch tussle in the sprint race, didn't they? Between the two of them.
Oh yeah, I was waiting for him to go peak Ferrari and get a couple of DNFs.
Yeah,
but ending up with a second and a fourth in the sprint.
Yeah, you'd have to say that even then, that's a semi-good result.
Yeah, given that Max was he did his usual, see ya. And nobody was in danger of challenging him during the whole of the sprint. You know, he just walked away with that, and I was kind of waiting for that to happen again on Sunday.
Yeah,
because it was like, it was a dominant Max win. Oh shit, Red Bull are back.
Yeah, but don't worry, Perez was 7th.
But yeah, I mean, what can we say? Apart from move straight into Rockstars and Wankers, and Ferrari are going straight into Rockstars this week.
Yes.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
I'd go Liam Lawson as well.
Yes.
Yeah, points on his comeback.
Colapinto
for nearly getting a fastest lap in a Williams.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ocon, Gene Simmons. Rockstar for the fastest lap, Wanker for taking it away from Williams.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there any other? I'd say you could almost put Max in the Gene Simmons for brilliant defensive move until, bollocks, desperate, run him off.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Lando into the Gene Simmons, maybe. Well, I mean, you could borderline say Wanker Lando, but I think that's a little unfair. I don't know.
Wanker, the stewards and their inconsistent shit.
Yes.
Yes. And, knock, knock, who's there? Oh, that's it. I've had enough. I'm penalising you. Just real attitude to go, racing, is it? I don't think so. Not on our watch.
Whoever came up with the Alpine livery?
Yes.
Yes.
That can fuck off.
Whoever decided the national anthem.
Should be sung like a bunch of carol singers. That was a Chris one. It's a Christmas anthem.
I think I went to the loo during the national anthem. I think I missed it.
You had a more exciting wee.
Excellent. Good. Good.
In that case, if we're on anthems, I'm going to throw Hans Zimmer in there again because nobody's out rockstarring with a national anthem all season.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although,
Come back and try harder, Damian Lewis.
Fucking hell, yeah, that was a car crash, wasn't it?
Although from our Canadian correspondent, I think everyone's been scarred or scared after Canada. Thank you, Jane. When they had the Super Mario.
Oh yeah, no, I remember it. I remember
it. Yeah.
So, one weekend of a triple header is done, and another one starts in a couple of days. Well, because this will be Tuesday when it comes out, and all the press stuff starts on Thursday. I'll get the prediction league sorted, so you can get your predictions in for the Mexican Grand Prix. Have we got another sprint this weekend?
Please don't.
No, I think, is it Brazil? I think Brazil is a sprint.
Yeah, Brazil's a sprint, Mexico's not. I've just had to organise a pub crawl around the Brazil sprint race.
Let's have a look.
Around it this time.
Yeah, Mexico is normal. 3 practices, quali on Saturday at 9, a slightly better time. Won't be as many drinks in this week.
No, yeah.
And another race starting 8 o'clock UK time, 3 o'clock Eastern. Right, get your predictions in if you want to get in touch and ask questions like, where the fuck have you lot been?
Who the bloody hell are you then?
Yeah. Oh, I remember you used to talk about Formula One, not WEC and Bros. We owe you nothing. Yeah, if you want to get in touch, then at 3 Legs 4 Wheels on all the socials, 3 Legs 4 Wheels at gmail.com, and individually on the artist formerly known as the thing with the bird.
I heard a good Prince anecdote today on a podcast where some fans from Glasgow went to visit Paisley Park. Apparently, it's really easy just to get into Paisley Park. It's like an industrial estate. And they went in there and they met with are they called the New Revolution? Prince's, what were they called?
That was one of his
It
squids,
was the New Power Generation.
New Power Generation. That's
they were the ones I saw him with. The Revolution was the one before. Yeah, the Revolution were the ones that were in Purple Rain.
Apparently, yeah. So I'm thinking more 90s, I guess. Apparently, they turned up at Paisley Park, found the security was crap, met a bunch of the New Power Generation who they'd met at a gig in Glasgow the year before. Then after about half an hour, they apparently turned around and said, "Could you go away now? It's a bit weird you've travelled here to do this." And they went, "Oh shit, it is, isn't it? Yeah, okay, we'll go now. Yeah, sorry." They just left.
So anyway, on Twitter, we are
at Sean Cowper,
at Kieran is boring,
at Pablo100, and you can get Chris at Flood21, and there is a name that we've missed out, but he's deleted all his socials, so we're deleting him from tonight's show. We will try and be back next week.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, Mondays have changed.
Yeah.
We will try and be back next week, talk about Mexico and whatever the hell goes on there, and then 20 minutes after next week's show comes out is when Perez will announce his retirement.
Of course.
Should we do a Tuesday show specifically next week? The 3 Legs 4 Wheels Tuesday news special with Sergio Perez retiring.
If we just record it in advance, we'll just put it out as soon when he picks the Tuesday that he's retiring on.
Yes.
Record 2 shows. Did he retire this week and did he not?
Yes.
Just want to wish Team 3 Legs 4 Wheels, including myself that's been roped into driving, all the best for the SimCenter 4-hour endurance challenge.
All right, wishing yourself good luck.
I just want to wish me luck. Can I just take this opportunity to wish Vectis Radio luck at the Community Radio Awards in Cardiff next month?
Yes,
I hear they're up for 6 awards,
yes,
including Station of the Year.
I was just going to say, I may be doing some driving, but Dan is driving in this one, along with Steve the accountant and Riggs, a good mate of ours. So we'll let you know how that goes, and I might even take the video camera down with me and put something on YouTube.
Yeah.
So if you find me on socials on Saturday night and I'm in a bad mood, we didn't do well. We will see you. I'm going to go soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.